Hello, everyone. The topic for the day is the role of the manager. We'll try to distinguish the role of the manager in terms of proficiency, productivity, and profitability. So, we will state the importance about the role of a manager in the overall efficiency of the firm. So, let us proceed with an example of a two firms. Let us say there's a low tech manufacturing sector in which firm A and firm B, which has approximately similar number of employees. Firm B has 4 employees extra in terms of 40 employees for firm A and firm B being 44 employees. Now, if you look into this kind of information that has been presented in front of you, see, firm A has been in existence for approximately 24 years right now, and relatively 17 years old is firm B, relative young is firm B. See, value added is again 9.5 US dollar million, right? And in terms of firm B, it is approximately 82 times or 82.1 million US dollar. So value for employees in firm A is 237,500 USD, and value for per employee value addition for per employee is 1.8 cent, which loosely translate that firm B is approximately 8 times bigger than the firm. So the question is TFP, total factor productivity, is what makes the firm be much more productivity. Remember, this has to be the labeled as a measure of our ignorance, which we often do around it. Is the value addition per employee? It's the value addition per employee of firm B actually translate into a or catapults into a much stronger position as compared to firm A in the example. So agenda for this particular presentation would be measuring the management practices thereof, which we need to go around. We need to state time and again what exactly is there. Then we will speak about the benchmarking position that is there. Management firms performances is obviously we are looking into it, and drivers of the management practices thereby. Lastly, we'll try to wind it up with the conclusion that is mentioned out here. So this is what we will be discussing. So TFP, total factor productivity dispersion across firm, can be very high. Believe me or not, it ranges around 3 in US to approximately 5 in Asia. So in US, TFP is approximately 3, which is relatively being published in 2009. But back in Asia, it is approximately 5 in China and India, precisely in Asia, if you want to go around it. So there is an evidence that the management practices can explain at least a part of it. So around 90th of the to 10th firm labor productivity in US, as from Bloom's taxonomy is concerned in 2019. Bloom taxonomy in 2013 details two reasons for skepticism. What is there? Number one, management is a complex phenomenon. Yes, definitely so. And so it is very difficult to measure, as in skepticism one. So response should be focused on the practices, management practices, and probably as narrow it down to as much as possible. The second skepticism is optimal management practice may not be similar across countries and firms. Firms are always profit maximizing, but the practice they choose are, as a result, are completely different and may not be a cause at all. So some firm might be customer focused, some might be quality focused, some might be only looking at niche market and so on and so forth. So everybody is quality profit maximizing, but the agenda of having it is completely different and it is not similar to one another. So response being, look at a cases of a random variation in management. That is the question that comes around it. There should be no association with profit or productivity if the variation is always optimal. That is what we want to find out in this particular presentation. So let us make a survey in terms of firms capability. So what do we go around it? Let us go for every tax registered firm in your country. If you want to go around it, sectors, be it in manufacturing or service sectors, you can again segregate and be focused into high tech, low tech, manufacturing, knowledge intensive, non knowledge intensive, labor intensive, non labor intensive, and so on and so forth. The size should be approximately more than 10 employees. but preferably within 250 employees in manufacturing, and in service industry anything from 6 to 250. Remember, a 6 employee industry in the service industry can be a restaurant or a small fast outlet, travel agencies, anything. Our very smallest the laundry people would be hiring around 6, 7, 8 people if it is working around the clock. There are so many industries which varies for it. Remember, for production it is 10. The employee strength should be in excess of 10, below 250. In service industry, it's in excess of 6, below 250. And interview counts is number of firms that you go around it, and multiple times you should be going around it. This is the management sampling that I would profess or take it. Then probably benchmark the standard management practices here in what you got to understand. Remember, different benchmark will eat. Once you make and study about it, which I'm trying to give it to you, probably to understand the role of the managers as far as the proficiency, productivity, and profitability is concerned, different benchmark is different inside, and that is the reason why I want this presentation to be an eye opener and probably do it yourself DIY kind of thing scenario. So there might be benchmark which might be strategy focus, structure focus, or leadership focus. There are many companies which are pivotal to a person who is leading the firm altogether. Then some companies actually are into a cost saving mechanism, or the lowest cost producer is their USP or unique sales proposition, or their competitive advantage that comes around it. Then there are people with there are companies with investment background, business economics. They understand the economics completely thoroughly. It is all about inventory management. It is all about client acquiring clients. We'll talk about the staffing, the skills, the talent, will yield different management altogether. I am trying to provide you with certain eye-opener facts as far as services activities. Now, which are services we may be having an after-sales services also. We might have been activities in terms of engaging the customer much after the sales have happened. There are many industry, for example in automobile industry, where you have actually make a sale but you keep your customer focused in the loop and probably engage them with certain other kind of activities that might be there. So that is what the impact analysis. So for example, a customer purchases an automobile and you are in touch with the customer with kind of a trip, uh, a long drive activities or something like that, and been in touch for 2 to 5 years time, and before it you suddenly realize that it is the time that the person needs to change the automobile, and probably this time because of your customer engagement activities it will become handy for you to understand or probably make a purchase, the repeat purchase, which might be from the same brand or from the same house of your company. A different brand altogether might be an upgradation in the vehicle. So we talk about the technologies, we talk about innovations, we talk about future trends. These are the things that needs to be taken into consideration every now and then. This is what is very important as far as technology, innovation, future trends are concerned. We will be retrospecting on the quality, the cycle time, yields, and the productivity. Similarly, best practice insights will come much handy. Process excellence is another factor which can determine how long the time of servicing would take or how short it will be. Then there is something called analog, the launching effect in terms of launching of new products, planning, life cycle. So what I'm trying to uh, basically impress upon new audience is about the benchmarks which might differ, which gives you a various insights in approximately insight which might be eye revealing. So structured management practices and firm performance, how do we go around it? It is the performance of the organization which is based on what? The strategic planning, the human resource development, and the organizational innovation. We are talking about strategic management, we are talking about human resource management, we are talking about innovation management. Remember, this is all about internal control that we go around it. Everything relates to the performance of the organization, how well the organization is going to perform around it, how well it is going to gel, and probably have a repeat customers as far as the production or sales are concerned. This is what is we are stressing about. This will imply how efficient your man. I again say, do not adopt the management practices any any longer. So I am trying to give it to you. One is an information asset to me, as I've told you in my previous slide. Not certain that they will actually benefit, don't know whether that they have poor management quality, do not know how to do it exactly, or unsure about the quality of the service provider. Underdeveloped market for the business development services. It's all about availability of management service providers for management service is highly heterogeneous, as the case might be. This is what we are looking at it. So, what drives adoption of structured management? Nevertheless, there are reasons, there are causes, and there are principles that drives. If you have a process in place, nothing like it. So, it is all about regions and sectors. If it is homogeneous in nature, if it is all about foreign ownership or the supplier being to a foreign firm, we are again mooted as per the foreign countries' ethos are concerned. The exporters, we are talking about it, the size of the firm, the age, and the managers and workers' education. This is what drives management practices. A better management practices for the managers, depending focused onto the region, focused on the sector. Foreign ownership or supplier to a foreign firm is what we are looking at it. The exporter is what we are wanting to do about the size of the firm, the age, and their. So, what does this mean for policy? The policy for the organization. It's all about allocative efficiency. We are looking at being reactive and rather than being proactive. Probably as on when on required, we are allocating the resources. Lack of relationship with the firm's age is an indication for the lack of learning and selection mechanism that comes around it. Now, this is policy recommendation which we call about it. Now, the business of the business to business linkage is another thing that goes around it in terms of foreign linkages, capabilities of the firms which we go around it. It's a tight association of the managerial capabilities with performances, capabilities to design better, obviously better incentives for human resources and instruments including financial incentives, vouchers, grants, fiscal incentive, which is of vital importance. So, how problems are resolved? The question is how problems are resolved. Now, this needs to be very dynamic and personal to the person who is handling the situation, the manager in this case. What is his style or her style will actually determine whether the problem dissipates in a spick of a moment or gets elongated and takes a huge shape altogether. The response that you go around it, the best response is to be transparent with the situation, take all your stakeholders into consideration, into confidence, and explain that the position, explain them what is actually happening in the company. And believe me, once you state your position in a clearly fashion, people, stakeholders, partners will only strengthen your hand to fight the problems in the. So manager response, somehow the problem was solved, or we hired new people, but you just can't prevent someone from having more children, or anything that comes around it is something which we are looking at it, be it personal. So it is not the excuses that we are looking into it, but this is what the manager response might often be, probably not done. Then we are looking at what exactly is being done in definitive form. The best describes what happened in a particular company. This is the benchmark companies we are talking about. In the benchmark company, how does the problem was mitigated in the first place? There are workers on the market, but they don't like to work. What kind of people are here? Again, might be a negative correspond. Probably what is happening is you need a lot of training to be done. If training have been given out there, I'm sure most of them is going to help you out altogether. The training and development needs to be there and done and there. Then is the monitoring performances where scoreboard plays to show the production and other key indicators of the performance in the company is what one more thing that needs to be taken care of. How do you monitor the performance? nearby. Remember, all scoreboards are in my head. This is wrong thing altogether. This doesn't work around it. You need to have a dashboard that should be visible not to you, not in your mind, but to all the employees altogether. This creates transparency. This understand that there is no favoritism taking place together. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.